Welcome back to another video on the Bug Out Sam YouTube channel where today we are talking about Middlesbrough and we have got on the main man, Will. How are you doing, mate?
I'm good, Sam. Thank you for having me.
By the way, I've only just clocked your little backdrop. That's class, by the way. I don't know how we've just been speaking off camera and I hadn't noticed that in the
It's
background.
the
It's
best.
class,
It's the
that.
best thing in my uni house. I've got to say, it's the best bit about it.
And to be honest, I've got you on talking about Middlesbrough and it's a good time at the minute. Really overachieving from what I thought from the start of the season, but you've kept it going. I think that's the main thing, isn't it, really, at the start of this season? So I want to start off and ask you straight away. Have
Mhm.
your expectations changed Middlesbrough from the start of the season?
I think they have. Yeah, I think pre-season expectations. Well, I don't think there really were any expectations. A new manager coming in, quite a new squad as well, a big overhaul of players. And yeah, expectations weren't really for anything. So the fact that we've started so well in over a quarter of the season now, we're in the top six. I think I would say that if we don't finish in the top six, it'll be quite disappointing to start so high and then fall off. I mean, you're a West Brom fan, you'll know all about that. Um,
That's nasty. That's early on as well.
but yeah, exactly. So yeah, we've started so well. If we fall off, it's going to be disappointing. And I'm sure Boro fans would agree with me. So yeah, I think the expectation now is to try and maintain that top six place.
Do you think it's reasonable then to suggest that as well? Because from performances I've seen, I've watched a few of your games, the full 90s. I normally just watch the highlights, but you seem to be dominating, which is a really big thing.
We dominate the ball, we dominate territory. The biggest thing at the moment is can we score enough goals? We don't have a consistent goal scorer. Tommy Conway has played, I think, 13 games. He's only scored 2 goals, and he's our out and out number 9. He wears the number 9 shirt. So if he can get firing, if our other attacking players can get firing too. But this is the thing, we've got a lot of new signings in that area of the pitch. So it's always going to take time to gel, to really get going. But given the quality of the league, I think you'd agree it's quite a poor league this season. We can see Coventry scoring loads of goals for fun. But even then, in some games, they lost to Wrexham. In some games, they are struggling here and there. Stoke is second. The top six is made up of 6 teams, sorry, that weren't relegated from the Premier League. So it's good to see the non-parachute payment teams up there. But I think that just shows that it could be anyone's league. So hopefully, Boro in the mix come the end of the season.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree. I think what you've just said there about back to the striker not firing, I had a look through earlier on because I noticed whenever I see your goals come in, it's always a new name. It's really spread
Yes.
out the goals throughout the season. I know you've scored 12, you don't concede many, which is your biggest thing. And that's
Yeah.
defensive, you're so strong. But I do think, obviously, I think it's Hackney, isn't it, and Conway are the two players that have scored both your top goal scorers with 2 goals, which
Yeah.
probably isn't good enough realistically. Do
No.
you think Conway then can step up and start firing?
I like to think so. I'm a big fan of Conway. I think opinions quite divided in the fan base. Some people think he's sort of a work rate, just a high runner, and then doesn't really get the praise for the other things he does. I think he links play quite well, but then as your number 9, he only really has one job, and that's to go and score goals. I think we've seen it when he was in a Bristol City shirt. We saw it when he was in a Middlesbrough shirt last season that he's capable. I'm not sure the system really helps with Rob Edwards because the play goes through the 2 centre mids and then the 2 number 10s. That's where Hackney gets his goals, and Morgan Whittaker's got 2 as well. So that's where they're popping up. So I think Conway sometimes is quite isolated. At the start of the season, there were games where he only had 4 touches in the opposition box. And for your striker, if one of those touches isn't a goal, you're thinking, well, what's going on here? So I really hope he comes good. And, I'm going to back my striker. And I think Conway will finish with hopefully at least 10 to 15 goals.
You'd like to think so. No, I do like him as well as a striker. I think I watched you earlier on in the season. I think he scored against Southampton. I'm pretty sure earlier on in the season it might have been. I'm trying to remember back. And I remember thinking he was occupying the defenders. I really liked him. I think that's when he'd scored. It was something like that earlier on in the season. I remember thinking that's my type of striker. And then I keep looking back and seeing he's not scoring. But as you said, if you think he's going to come good, that's the main thing. But okay, then I want to ask you then now. And I know obviously this is not to get you. This is not me trying to do you or anything like that over. But do you think Middlesbrough will get promoted then this season? What's your thoughts on that?
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no. My opinion has changed from sort of the first 5, 6 games of the season. I think performance-wise, in the last 8 games, I think in the form table we're sat about 15th. I think we've won 2 in 8, which really isn't great. But at this stage of the season, we're still sat third, so I'm not going to complain about that massively. I have huge question marks about our attack, Sam. We've spoken about it. Can we score enough goals? I don't think we can. I think at the club, we only actually have one number 9, and that's Tommy Conway. I don't think we have another player that can play in that striker position. Everyone else is like a number 10 or a winger. We don't have an out-and-out goal scorer. Our defence has been very, very good. That's been our strongest point so far. But there's question marks there. Dale Fry's always injured. Alfie Jones has just got a red card. He's played every single minute so far, so he probably needs a rest. Darragh Lenihan's injury prone. George Edmondson, question marks about him as well. But when our best player has been Luke Ayling, can you expect promotion? I don't really think so.
He is such a frustrating player because he's always one of those players that I always see linked with our club, and he was in the summer. And I was thinking, I'd love him. He always plays well against us, but he's always consistent no matter what. You know what you're going to get from him.
Yeah,
and he seems to have been doing this for my entire lifetime. I can't think of when he's not been performing at this level. And you keep thinking, nah, he's too old now. One more season. He just keeps going. And fair play, he's been class. And that goal was against Leicester, which, as a recording last night, oh, what a finish, by the way.
Yeah, unbelievable. I think he deserves more praise from the Boro fan base, but also just the Championship in general. He's that kind of player where he's always at least a 7 or 8 out of 10 every single week, and he might make a mistake, but just like that Leicester game, he will come back and he'll resolve any issue that he's done at the back. And yeah, given his age, 34 years old, how good was he for Leeds? And he's continuing that, and he doesn't look like he's going to slow down anytime soon.
No, absolutely no chance. Okay, then. We briefly touched on this, but I want to go back to this then. How do you think Middlesbrough have coped then with so many outgoings this summer? Because obviously it's been a big change, as you said.
It has been a big change, yeah. Particularly with the manager. I'll start with that. Michael Carrick leaving, Rob Edwards coming in, having to bring in his new style of players. Losing Johnny Howson, captain. I think he was at the club for 7 or 8 years. He's always going to be difficult to replace. He's not appears for the club, scored a number of goals as well from central midfield. He was my favourite player. I absolutely loved him. And I'm sure Boro fans will always miss him. And I've seen he's actually playing for the Leeds under 21s at the moment. He's like a player/coach. So I wish him well. We are missing him a little bit. We lost Finn Azaz as well. I'm not going to lie to you, Sam. I wasn't really disappointed in that in the slightest. We got £15 million for him. And already Southampton fans are asking for a refund. So I think that just sort of tells you the story that he's not really missing a Boro shirt, albeit we are sort of having trouble in front of goal. So maybe that is missing just a bit of magic. But so far this season, he's not done it for Southampton. Rav Vandenberg left, of course, still young, centre-back. Got around £12 million for him. A little bit disappointed because I think all Boro fans had high expectations for him. Signed at 18, had a very good first season, and then sort of lost his way a little bit with the club. And I think it was quite clear that he wants to leave. So if you have a player in your squad that wants to leave, I think the only thing you can do is let him go and get that money in. So I think we've reinvested quite well. At the moment, we're a club. Kieran Scott's come in and made us, well, our profit margins, I think, are really, really good in terms of player sales at the moment. I just hope that potentially in January, we splash a bit more of that money in those attacking positions.
I think that's probably the glaringly obvious one. You'd like to think, we always say this as fans of clubs throughout the EFL, when you see, it seems obvious when you look at it from the outside, you're like, we're not scoring, so we need to buy a striker, but it doesn't always work like that. And especially in January, the market, especially in the EFL, can be crazy. It's always a bizarre market because you get so much panic buys, so many clubs where they know everybody will know what you're looking for, so the price will go through the roof. So maybe the loan market might be something you might be looking at. It'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, we had Ben Doak last season, and he was absolutely fantastic on loan from Liverpool. I'd love another, a young talent like that. I think every club in the Championship would want someone like that to come in and just provide that spark that you've been missing. Obvious Premier League quality, but when that loan ends, the saying, never fall in love with a loan player. It can be heartbreaking.
Yeah, I've done it too many times, and the Albion fans are mocked quite often for some of ours in the past. I still miss them now to this day. I still celebrate them scoring for their clubs, which is just very embarrassing, to be honest. I do need to grow up a little bit. Okay, then. I do want to get your overall thoughts then, currently. I know you briefly touched on the form and the form you're showing currently then. Worried is not the right word because you're not in a crisis or anything like that. I think you're still third in the league, to be honest.
Yeah.
But what do you make then of your current form? What do you think it's down to?
I think the start is just Rob Edwards getting us doing the basics again, running. He's got a huge emphasis on running and working really hard, making blocks, doing the defensive duties, just settling everything down. Because under Michael Carrick, there was a huge emphasis on pretty football, passing the ball around a lot, and it never really came to anything. And defensively, we're always really fragile. But Rob Edwards has come in, he switched to a back five, and that's something Rob Edwards has I wouldn't say done well, because I think in recent weeks he's actually caught out being too flexible. Sometimes he's gone to a 5, sometimes he's gone to a 4. So I don't actually think he's worked out his best system yet or his best 11. But those basic principles of working hard, making tackles is what got us, well, why we were top of the league in the first few games of the season, and why we are still third in the league, albeit performances maybe lacking a bit of quality here and there in the final third. I mean, I think a good example is only beating Sheffield Wednesday 1-0. Realistically, a team like Wednesday, who have been in a crisis, you should probably be going to scoring 3 or 4. And that's what Coventry did. They scored 5 against them. So I think that maybe shows the levels in terms of, right, let's actually go here and let's get a statement or a job done. I think on another day, Wednesday really could have come back and made that game 1-1. But yeah, no, I'm really happy with Rob Edwards, to be honest. And there's been a lot of speculation recently you might have seen about the Wolves job. But that's all been a bit up in the air. So still not really sure at the time of recording this, not really sure what's going to happen there. But yeah, I've been delighted with what he's come in, what he's said, and the principles he's trying to install in the team so far.
Yeah, the Wolves, kind of the whole situation at the Wolves, obviously, I'm a West Bromwich Albion fan. A lot of my friends are Wolves fans. It's very local to me. I can't escape it. But the discussions currently with the Wolves, no one has absolutely any idea. None of the Wolves fans have any clue going with what's going on. So we can't really talk on it. You don't really know. And Rob Edwards was I quite liked his response when questioned on it, made a joke about his daughter. And said, like, he found out from his daughter that he was linked as a. But I can't see, and I'd like to think in a situation like this, I couldn't see him moving. I'd like to think, especially when you compare where the two clubs currently are at, and he's got something good going on at Boro. But obviously, I know his previous links with Wolves, so who knows? You never know, do you, with managers like that? No. Corberán left on Christmas Eve, so I've lost all faith in managers. Quarter to midnight, I found out in the pub. Wow. He ruined my Christmas, so I don't have any faith in managers anymore. So at least I've got that one in there. Overall, then, is there anything else then as a whole then of Boro as a whole? I know you've spoken about kind of the profits and kind of the player sales. It's been going in a good position. Then, do you think as a whole then Boro are in a good position as a club?
I think so. Something else since Rob Edwards has come in, he's got that connection back with the fans. I think the home atmosphere, I personally haven't been to a home game yet, but from what I've been told and what I've read and the videos I've seen, the home atmosphere looks a lot better than it has in recent seasons. I'm not sure, maybe that's down to the playing style. Maybe it's a bit more energetic than Michael Carrick's pragmatic football of just really slow passing, boring, if you like, football. But Rob Edwards has come in, something he straight away he said he wants to bring that connection back with the fans, the home fans, the away supporters, get everyone on track, get them behind the players, and the players will try and deliver that for the fans. So that's definitely a difference we've seen so far this season that I've really, really liked.
I have to admit, I loved that interview. I think I can't remember who it was. It might have been Whitaker came on, and there was a few groans from the fans, and then he did that interview after. And I have to admit, I love stuff like that because I think it's so good for the club, and it's great to see a manager talking like that, really backing the players. And from an outside, I saw that, and I was like, that's the type of guy you want as a manager. And I don't know how kind of the reception was from Boro fans. I didn't see too much fallout from it. I think everyone kind of respected it as well. Yeah, I'd love to know your thoughts.
Well, I think that just sums Rob Edwards up. He's just a class guy. He's just a really, really lovely guy. And you can see that in his press conferences. You can see that exactly how he backed up Morgan Whitaker. Basically, told the fans, "No, we don't do that. We're a family. We're a football club. Everyone's in this together." And that's the exact sort of mentality you want if you want to go get promotion in this league. It's such a difficult league. It's such a high pressure environment where some players could just completely drop off in terms of form. I think that is what happened to Morgan Whitaker. So if Rob Edwards didn't do that, who knows? He might not even be playing anymore. And that's why players fall out of love with football. So as a player, you'd absolutely love to have a manager like Rob Edwards.
I was going to say, definitely. It's a real good feel factor then around the club. And as you said, that really kind of backs up the connection then, doesn't it, between the fans and the players, and it kind of bridges the gap massively. I love stuff like that. And I always think that is the type of manager you want at a club. So yeah, it's all very positive for Boro. It's quite nice. That's why I thought it was perfect timing to get you on the channel. But is there anything you want to plug before you go? Any channels or anything you want to plug?
So my TikTok is called Full-Time Fever. Do a lot of championship-based content on there. Of course, a lot of Boro stuff as well. So if you're a Boro fan, then you want to check me out on there, then please feel free to do so. Also on YouTube, the same handle, Full-Time Fever as well. Do score predictions with my other friend, Sheffield United fan, Dan, and different bits of championship content on there as well. So yeah, feel free to go check that out if you would like to.
Yeah, the links to all of those guys will be down in the comment section down below. So, and if it's not there, comment and remind me because I did that on the last time, and I'm not going to do that again. I promise. Apologies for doing that. But yeah, all very positive, and thank you for coming on, mate. I've thoroughly enjoyed that, and I think everyone else will do as well. But yeah, good to see Borough doing well. We just need the Albion to have a bit of turn in form because last time we spoke, we weren't too far away from each other,
No.
and now there's a big gap.
Mm.
But hey ho, thank you again, mate, and we will see you very soon then. Appreciate it.
Cheers.
Hopefully, get you back on soon, mate. Appreciate it.
Thank you,
Thank
mate.
you.